Howdy y'all, my name is Rory. I'm a queer writer and zine maker based in Texas, and this summer I've been accepted to Lambda Literary's annual Writers Retreat for Emerging LGBT Voices. Lambda is a queer organization that's been running workshops, retreats, and award ceremonies for LGBT writers since, I believe, 1987, and at this point they're basically leading the charge for defending LGBT books and celebrating those books in the Anglophone world. I feel incredibly honored to have been chosen for this retreat, and I'm super excited for it to start. In this video, I'm going to be editing my novel and prepping for the retreat. I have done one other writer's retreat in the past. That was Tin House 2022. It was the young adult workshop, which happened to be at the height of the pandemic, so it was on Zoom, which honestly made it a lot more accessible for me. This upcoming workshop is also going to be held over Zoom, although I think it might have been in person prior to the pandemic. I'm not 100% sure about that, but yeah, personally, I'm really glad these events are hosted online nowadays because it makes it so much easier for low-income writers to attend. When I did the Tin House retreat back in 2022, I actually couldn't afford the cost of tuition, so I applied for a scholarship and was granted $700 to pay for the workshop, which was honestly life-changing. This year, I wasn't given a scholarship, so I've had to fundraise all the tuition myself, which has been a little stressful, but I'm so grateful for everyone who donated. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to see what Lambda has in store for me. Good morning. I am laying in bed. It is about 8:30. I just woke up at around 8 o'clock, which is an early morning for me. I am not an early riser naturally. I woke up at 8. And I have a whole lot of stuff to do today. I need to edit and compile my manuscript into one big document and so that I can send it out to beta readers. I need to pick up a library book that I ordered through Interlibrary Loan. I just got an email that it's come in. I need to print out all of the excerpts from the people in my Lambda workshop cohort so that I can properly mark those up. And then also I'm going to print out some stuff that someone sent me that they'd like me to beta read, basically. So yeah, a lot of printing stuff out, a lot of sitting around, editing, reading stuff, marking stuff up with highlighters. I think I'm probably going to go to the public library to do that, just because lately I've been writing so much from home and I've just been sitting in my house and I would really like a change of pace. So yeah, I think I'm going to go make some tea, I'm going to bring some snacks, and I'm going to head to the library. When you're crushing cardamom in one of these things, we call this a molcajete here in Texas, but you probably know it as a mortar and pestle. You really don't need that many of these because each of these little pods has a ton of cardamom in it. So yeah, don't overdo it with the cardamom because if you do overdo it, your tea will taste like soap. So this is my setup. I love this bag because not only is it dungeon meshy Costco themed, but also it's just gigantic. It's fucking huge. Oh, hi. It's got this big front pocket. Right now I've got my sunglasses, office supplies for annotating stuff, and then one of my snacks. We still have some of the pineapple cake we brought back from Taiwan. You know, I had to represent. In here we've got, this is the full printed out manuscript that I printed out yesterday, so I'm gonna edit that. We've got the tea that I made this morning. We've got my planner and notebook, a mask because I'm going to be in the public library, and obviously my wallet. Hey guys, how are you doing? I just wanted to kind of give an update on how the editing process is going. The novel is like finished. I've got the second draft done, which is really awesome. It's taken me so long to do this second draft. Like, you have no idea. I've been working on this draft for multiple years. It's honestly kind of embarrassing to talk about because, like, I don't think it takes anyone else that I know this long to just draft something, but I don't know, just for whatever reason, it really took me a long time with this project, partly because I was making a lot of changes to the world building, and partly because I've just been really busy. The past couple years, there's been work stuff and social stuff and family stuff. It's finally drafted, yay! So I printed out a big binder of the new draft, I guess. And I also printed out a bunch of my beta readers' comments on it. So I went through the entire thing at the library the other day, just kind of highlighted and marked out stuff that needs to get cut, noted typos, that kind of thing. So based on that, I've been cleaning up the document, and I've finally been able to send it out to the next round of beta readers. And so hopefully I'm going to get some really good feedback on that when people finish reading it. My main problem with this draft is just that it's super, super long. It is 430 pages, I believe, and it's 145,000 words, which is unacceptable for a YA novel. It's just like nobody publishes anything over 100K for YA. I was told by an agent recently that 90K is considered way, way too long for a YA novel. For YA standalone debut, they're kind of looking for a sweet spot of like 70K words. 50K is like officially a novel length, and 70K is like what they want for a YA novel. And then if you get up into like 80 or 90, 90 is considered really pushing it for YA. So I know that next draft I'm going to have to cut the word count down. That's like my number one goal for the next draft. But I do feel really good that I have a complete draft. I feel like all of the continuity errors have been fixed. And I feel really confident about having a draft that I can give to people at the workshop if they ask me for pages. Because the last time I did a workshop, it was at Tin House in, I want to say, early 2022. And after the workshop, I had like agents and other authors and some other folks. I had people approach me and say like, hey, do you have a manuscript for us to read? And I didn't, because the first draft was complete, but I knew that it was a mess and I didn't feel comfortable giving it to anybody. So now I at least have a complete second draft that is much, much better, like vastly, vastly improved from the first draft that I can give to people if people ask me for it. So that feels really good. My main goal has been accomplished. Just kind of like speaking more generally, I am feeling kind of nervous about this workshop. I had an amazing, amazing time at Tin House. I've talked about this in other vlogs and stuff, but I'm still friends with most of the people in my cohort at Tin House. We still like occasionally meet up IRL. We have a group chat going. We talk to each other. Sometimes we still meet up on Zoom to like do manuscript critiques and workshops and that kind of thing. So yeah, Tin House was just like an amazing life-changing experience. And it really like showed me, this sounds really corny, but it showed me that like writing is a thing that I really can pursue, you know? And so I feel like no matter how well this workshop goes, I'm going to be comparing it to Tin House. And Tin House like kind of went the best that any workshop or writer's retreat can possibly go. So I don't know, just I'm aware that there's going to be that like comparison in my head. And I'm also just kind of like, normally I'm not a socially anxious person, right? But in this case, I think I'm kind of socially anxious around other writers. I think because like writing is such an incredibly personal thing, and critiquing other people's writing is like a very intimate experience, right? It's very intimate, and I think a lot can go right, but also a lot can go wrong. And I really worry that I come off as abrasive or difficult or overly critical. I don't know. I'm just like, I think I'm worried about how I'm going to come off, and I really, really want the workshop to go well, and I want to get good feedback, and I want to be able to give people good, actionable feedback. And I also really want to make friends, you know? I'm a very face-to-face person. Pretty much all of my close friends are people that I met in person at like work or through college or through this or through that. And I find it difficult at times to make friends in online spaces. I have made friends in online spaces. I know it's a thing I can do. I just think that I'm a little bit more, I don't want to say awkward, but like, I think that in online spaces, it can be harder to gauge whether someone is vibing with you, because in person, you have all of these indicators about like whether or not someone is enjoying the conversation, whether or not they're excited to talk to you, whether or not you guys are actually effectively communicating. Like there's tone of voice, there's facial expressions, there's this, there's that, there's the other. So in person, I don't really have any kind of social anxiety, but online you don't have facial expressions. You don't have like tone indicators or like tone of voice, I guess. There's all this stuff where I just feel like online, I feel like I can sometimes come off as like kind of cold or abrasive, but I'm not. I don't know, I think I'm just like a more effective communicator in person. So yeah, that's a thing. I'm like definitely pretty nervous about like how the workshop will go socially, because I want to make friends. I want to make friends who are writers. I think at the end of the day, like writing can sometimes feel like quite a lonely pursuit, and it doesn't have to be that way. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I hope I'm making sense. Another thing that's kind of been on my mind recently, it feels like there's been this total breakdown of online writing community spaces, if that makes sense. A couple years ago, I felt like I did have community in online writing spaces, on social media, on Discord, on Twitter, meeting people and making friends through like online writing spaces. And compared to that, this year it has felt so incredibly lonely. Writing spaces online just feel like they're dead. It feels like no one is there. Twitter feels like a dead mall. Engagement is just really, really bad. Engagement is super low. I feel when I post on Twitter, I feel like I'm just like throwing stuff out into the void. Like I'm just throwing my thoughts and like my writing and my art, and I'm just like tossing shit that I made that's really important to me. I'm just like tossing shit into a void, and no one is ever going to see it because engagement is just so low. And that really gets to you after a while. It just feels really, really lonely. So I'm really looking forward to the workshop because I want to build community. Like I want to feel like I'm in a space where I'm rooting for other writers and other writers are rooting for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't want to make it sound like workshops and writers retreats are about networking, because that's first and foremost not what they're about. But I do think that part of the reason we do stuff like this is so that we can build communities, so that we can feel like we're not writing alone, because writing can be, I think, a very lonely pursuit sometimes, and that's a little sad. I don't know, I'm rambling at this point, but this is what's been on my mind. My next sort of mission of the day is that I have printed up a binder full of the other cohort members' excerpts for the Lambda Writers Retreat. So my goal for today is to go and like read all of those, mark them up. I've already done like a complete read through of everyone's stuff, but I think I really want to do like a second read through, take some notes, feel like I have a really strong handle on everyone's work before we get to the workshop. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Peace out.